Hey, AfterBuzzers, we are talking about episode 9 of The Bold Type after Tequila Sunrise. Stick around.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Stronger than yesterday. Everybody in this episode is stronger than yesterday, and they are not letting fear get in the way of their dreams or what they really want in life.
They're bold. The bold type.
They are bold as ever. Well, hey guys, we are back to recap another episode of The Bold Type, which we are so obsessed with, obviously, and cannot believe we are one episode away from the season finale.
So sad.
It's
almost over.
It's really upsetting.
It's so sad. Guys, I mean, we've been hanging out, chatting on Tuesdays for 10 weeks now, almost 10 weeks now. What am I going to do without you guys?
Time flies when you have fun.
I know.
Seriously.
Because it went by super fast.
Super fast.
And I feel like these girls are my best friends.
I
Like,
know.
Yes.
I know. Oh my gosh. Well, before we get into it, I want to introduce all these lovely ladies. Where can they find you on social media? Kia, where can they find you?
Hey guys, I'm Nakia Monet, and you can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom.
Devyn.
What's up, guys? It's Devyn Howard. You can find me on all social media at Dining with Devyn.
Karla.
Hi guys, I'm Karla Beltran, and you can find me on Instagram at Karla B Travels and on Twitter at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
Hey guys, it's your host, Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at Girl. And of course, make sure to follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. And just a quick note, we just want to thank you guys so much for your support. And we actually have some really exciting news here at AfterBuzz. Whether you're a new listener or a longtime AfterBuzz fan, you know that we're the world's #1 destination for TV coverage. Starting next month, we'll be expanding our content beyond just after shows to bring you a whole new slate of content, formats, and guests. It's going to be super exciting. Our after shows aren't going anywhere, so don't be sad. They're not going anywhere. They're simply evolving. Most of our shows that you love only air for part of the year, but during the rest of the year, these shows have news that constantly is breaking, and we want to talk to you about it. So kind of as the ESPN of TV talk, and we know it's our job to cover it. We'll have in-depth coverage shows for comedy, drama, animated, truly anything you can imagine. Nothing's really off limits here. And given our no limits approach to TV coverage, we realize that sometimes it's just hard to find the shows that you love. And so we've listened to that, and we're restructuring the website so the shows in our platform to make it kind of easier for you guys to find what you're looking for, so we can kind of provide that to you. Our YouTube channel will be divided into 9 sections by genre: dramas, comedies, reality competition, wrestling and sports, animation, sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes, red carpets, and lastly, our own featured and original content. There's a lot to be excited about, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take us a lot of time. And as we develop, we'll be experimenting to kind of cater to your TV desires, which means your participation and feedback will be really essential to deliver these custom shows. And to keep everything up to date with everything, we want to make sure that you sign up for our monthly newsletter launching in September, which is just a couple days away, and check out our AfterBuzz show weekly with Megan Stecker. So I know that was kind of a lot of information, so if you have any questions at all, feel free to comment below. We would be happy to, answer any questions you may have. But we're really excited.
Yeah,
It's gonna
So
have
hyped.
there's gonna be so much more content for you guys to kind of see from all your hosts here at AfterBuzz. It's gonna be so much fun. So
You killed that girl.
well, thank you. Well, now with all that exciting news, let's lead into the excitement of today's episode, which I feel like the theme was kind of what Jacqueline had stated with her talking to Kat about how fear holds us back because we don't want to kind of challenge ourselves because it scares the crap out of us. So I guess kind of starting off with that, Jane's doing this pro list with trying to figure out if she's going to take the new job. Obviously, knowing what we know now, did you guys expect her to accept the job offer?
No.
That was very surprising. Because Scarlett's been her dream forever. And now here she is, taking a very risky job.
Right.
And not only that, but I mean, it was her goal to become a writer, and especially become a writer for Scarlett. So I didn't think that she would take a risk and go somewhere completely new that she never even imagined of working at.
Right. I think it was just kind of shocking because obviously we've seen that she really enjoys the political content, but I think I just wasn't expecting her to really only want to do that or be just a political vertical. You know what I mean? I thought that she liked that Scarlett was the fashion sense, and just eight episodes ago on the pilot, or 9 episodes ago now on the pilot, we saw her be so excited about getting this writing role, which she hasn't even been in for that long. So has she truly challenged herself in this lane is what I'm kind of asking myself.
I was thinking about that. I'm like, I thought that she would at least fight a little bit because you get this new role at Scarlett, the place that you always wanted to be at. And just because you got a few no's doesn't mean that you can't fight for what you want. And she has that strong personality. So I just assumed that she's like, all right, Jacqueline said no now, but maybe if I come back, she'll give me the opportunity or the chance, or maybe I can have the chance to grow. So I was a little shocked that she took the job. I'm like, I feel like you're giving up way too easy.
Yeah, and I think that since like we're all saying she just recently started, so I know that sometimes when you start a job, you want to go in and you want to give your full out, but that's not how it works. You have to build that trust with your boss, and you have to make sure that you're doing the work to get there. Sometimes you might have to do work that you don't enjoy. Like this is the very first time she's ever had to write the quiz. So I don't think it was like the end of the world. Like when you start, you can't expect to start at the top from anywhere. When you start something, you have to start from the bottom and work your way up. I agree. Feel like for her, she's just like, well, no, I don't want to work my way up. I want to be at the top from the beginning, which is, I think is what she thinks about Insight. I think that she thinks that by going to Insight, she's going to be at the top because this is what she talks about. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like that.
I think it's great that they put that on the show, because I feel like us millennials, that's the flack that we get from a lot of older people, a lot of older generations, because they feel like our generation, we want to do it and we don't actually experience it, whereas generations before us worked hard and they experienced it. So I'm happy they showed it, but I agreed 100% with what you're saying.
I think we could have seen this coming, though. I remember a couple episodes ago, I was saying, isn't it sad how Jane is always like so upset about every assignment she gets?
Right.
Yeah. Like, even though she loves Scarlett, I think she loves the idea of Scarlett, and the job itself wasn't actually fulfilling her as much as she hoped it would. Yeah. I think it's comfortable and she has her best friends there and it's glamorous and it's been her dream, but she's definitely, more into like serious hard news, and Scarlett's not the place for
That's
that.
what I was thinking. I'm like, as a writer, aren't you used to writing different things? Like, I feel like if you wanted to do the hard news, I guess maybe this is a learning experience, you would go to like a news place, because she claimed that she grew up on Scarlett, but I think that is a part of growing. Maybe she thought this is where she wanted to be, and when she actually got there, she's like, you know what, I actually want to talk about more serious things or more political things. So that's something that I also was going back and forth with. I'm like, all right, maybe she is just growing up, and she wants to talk about feminists and feminist problems and political things.
Well, oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say I loved what you just said about how maybe she thought this is what she wanted, and really she's just it's not her anymore. It doesn't fit what she's growing. She's having growing pains, and sometimes, 5 months, a year, you're not, like, especially in such early stages in your career, you're really not the same person from when you start a job, you know what I mean? Think about just a year ago and how different you may have been. I mean, if you got this job and Jane's been working there for a while, maybe she's just realizing, I love Scarlett, I love everything it has to embody in a job, but maybe it's time for me to spread my wings and see what's beyond there. Because it's not like she would be leaving on bad terms. She probably could always come back if that was an option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Devyn, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say how her character has evolved interestingly over the season, because I think when we first started watching, she seemed, kind of just like playful and a little bit not shallow necessarily, but I didn't expect her to ever become the person that was passionate about feminism and politics. And so seeing that kind of come out more and more, she's really come into her own, and I think that that's probably even surprising herself. She wasn't introduced to us as like the passionate activist,
right?
Right.
That was kind of Kat's role.
It was
I
Kat's
can
role.
see them switch. Like, I can see Kat going for like the Insight job. but not Jane.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess it is a part of growing. Peyton, fifth girl in the chat, said Jane may like working at Insight at first, but then she may regret it.
Yeah, I think that's gonna probably be a struggle if we get a season 2, which I mean, let's all like cross our fingers and hopefully we'll get a season 2. I know. I mean, it's freaking guys, it's freaking me out that we've got one episode left. What can happen?
That's
And what are we gonna get?
insane.
Yeah.
I can't deal with that. I have anxiety.
It's crazy.
I don't want to leave the bow
But-
tie.
Yeah, and I'm almost wondering if maybe this will probably be my prediction later, but I'm wondering if whatever we see next episode, maybe it deters her from, like, maybe she'll rescind her her acceptance from Insight. But going on to other things, dealing with jobs, we've got Pinstripe that gets fired, and he reaches out to Jane, out of all people, to ask basically for comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that?
I was always rooting for them. I
Same.
like them together.
Yeah, I like them
So
together
cute.
too.
I like
They're
how
a
I
really
like
cute
how
couple.
sorry. I was gonna say I like how he told her like stop overthinking it. Like
Yeah.
that's why I
Right.
called you Avi. I like you.
Right.
Stop pushing me away. I think that's like the vibe he was trying to give her. But I love that he called her like, hey, so
Right.
what's happening?
Are you
Even though he didn't say it, but
do you prefer texting or calls? Have we talked about this
Calls.
before? Calls.
Calls.
Yeah.
it depends. Like in a serious situation like that, I'll call. But
Right.
like regular, I'd rather you text me.
But like,
Yeah.
I have to be honest. If I'm dating a guy, my mom always laughs at me for this. If I'm dating a guy who I don't know, like it's really new, and I'll be like, oh my god, he's calling me.
Yeah.
She's like, so answer it.
I'm like, just text me, and then maybe I'm at work or doing something.
Yeah.
Then I can text you or call you back. I'm not a phone person. I'm even like that with my mom. I'm like, my mom will text me and then she'll just call me. I'm
Right.
like, girl, just text me. But if it's a serious conversation, then I prefer the phone. Or I think if it's someone that you really like, then you like talking on the phone.
I just think it's kind of like, it's almost like chivalry, like someone
Yes.
opens the door for you. They're calling me? Oh my gosh, this is great. It means that they actually want to hear your voice and it's not just a
Yeah.
mindless text that they're just shooting off to maybe 5 other people.
It's
Yeah.
I feel like for me it's a little bit more personable. So I thought that was really
agree.
nice that Pinstripe is kind of opening up, and I think he's regretting his decision, especially now that he's not going to be in this
Office.
like this line of work where he's not gonna have to, maybe he'll get a political career as well. I think he's just
Right.
realizing, I think he's growing up and realizing, wow, I had a great girl. Like some guys may realize, crap, lost that one. So I'm thinking that he has time to really kind of bring this relationship back, which I'm excited about. And I don't know about you guys, but it was so fun to see him in a fun, playful atmosphere with her friends, because before we've only seen it with Jane and himself like in a bedroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're always serious. Official Seaside says Pinstripe isn't the free and easy boy we thought he was. He's really into Jane.
Yes.
Totally agree.
100%.
Totally
He missed her. 100% he missed her.
I think
I
he didn't
like
think he
him.
would have feelings for her.
Yeah.
I want to date him.
Right.
Oh, Pinstripe, if you're listening,
Pinstripe.
Devin wants to
I'm
date
single.
She's a great catch too. 100%. You should date her. Ask her out on a date.
She makes fantastic food.
you.
so
Yes, the best vegan food.
Yeah, Pinstripe, call me.
Oh my gosh.
Seconds, sell yourself to Pinstripe. Go.
So Pinstripe, I love to travel. I love animals. And I do like to eat food. I feel like I'm blushing. Anyway, I'm really nice.
She's awesome.
She's
great.
beautiful.
She is
I love
awesome.
this background music.
Hashtag Devin wants to meet Pinstripe.
Pinstripe.
Yes.
Slide in Devin's DM.
It's Dining with Devin, in case you were
Hey.
Yes.
What's his real name? We need to figure this out because
Yeah, does anybody in the chat know what his real name is? I mean, on the show, he's Ryan.
I just saw it, I think, on Twitter.
While you search, I do want to give a shout out to Stephen Conrad Moore. He plays Oliver on the show, Sutton's boss, and he gave us a shout out on Twitter.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Thank you so much.
So shout out to him, the fact that he's watching us. He says, by the way, if you aren't watching the Bowl Type recap with the ladies at AfterBuzz, you are missing out. So
Oh my gosh, that is
so
amazing. You're
this
the
is why we
sweetest.
don't want to leave the Bowl Type.
I know.
It's like
It's-
one big family.
Yeah.
So, official Seaside says, I'll date Devin. Okay.
Hey, official Seaside.
I can't find it right now, but we need to find out Pinstripe.
David, we are not thirsty for Pinstripe. He's just hot. He doesn't make you thirsty.
Oh my gosh.
Hashtag I love Devin. Yes, Devin.
Yes. That's
Looks
a new
like I
We'll get it
hashtag.
trending.
Sooner.
Hashtag I love Devyn.
We'll get it trending. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it was kind of fun to see them in the office. They all got stuck because Trump was at a restaurant that closed down the street. But I always find it so interesting that their office is like their house. It's like they can just party and whip out the alcohol and get drunk. I would be nervous.
I think it depends on the company because I
Right.
remember working for a startup company and we were that comfortable where like we would have meetings and their whole thing was like, drink, here's some things. Like we would have bottles in our desk. Our boss would be like, why are you guys not drinking on it? But that's just like a startup company. Obviously, like
Right.
Scarlett's supposed to be Cosmo, but it's huge.
Right.
And they work for Time Warner, I believe. So it depends on the company you work for.
Right.
Especially in New York City. But at my old job, we had bottles in our desk. Thursday and Friday, we would, after a certain time, of course, 5 p.m. and every meeting we had on a Thursday, they always gave us like wine to be safe.
Well, apparently, I could be completely wrong, but I've heard that you're allowed, like by law, to have one drink at like during your work hours.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case.
Well,
I'll
not
give it
during,
a try.
not during your work hours, but like during the time that you're working, like you could take like maybe a 15-minute break and have like a drink.
Go to happy hour.
So maybe we should have a drink during our work hours here next week.
Next week we should have a glass of
Let's do
champagne
it.
to toast.
You know what? Let's do that.
We definitely will toast.
We'll be toasting.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just so funny, but like that was like giving me anxiety, just them getting drunk in the office, and then them being in Jacqueline's office. Oh my gosh, when she sat down in the chair, I just thought, oh my
Touching her
God.
stuff.
I know.
Because I mean, sitting in your boss's chair is like that's crossing some lines.
That's personal. That's like her little area. That's like her home. And then like she doesn't know if they're going through her stuff and
Right.
Sutton's on the treadmill. That's something I would totally do. Like I would like test out everything.
I like how she fell.
I'm like, that's me falling on your face on the treadmill.
That is one of my biggest fears. Every time I'm on a treadmill, I'm like, if I eat it, like I'm done. Like I'm gonna walk out of here and I'm not gonna
Yes.
talk to anybody.
Like, nope, I'm good.
Was there a treadmill in her? Oh yeah,
yeah,
Yes.
she walks.
Yeah.
She goes on the desk.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
and then out of all things, she leaves her pro list because it's not a pro con, it's a pro list in the office. I'm like, rookie mistake.
Open.
Mistake.
Question for the chat. This was frustrating us. Why did you not get it before you went home?
Hello.
I know.
When
Why
Jo-
did you wait for the morning?
when they go to the elevator, I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe it's in her bag already.
Right.
So when she gets to the office early to pick it up, I'm like, girl, why didn't you just go back when Jacqueline? I'm sure her
Door
office
was open.
door doesn't lock.
Right.
Inside, I don't know. That was
Well,
really
I
weird.
thought it was maybe Jacqueline had it, and I thought that's why she was like, "Oh, like Jane, that's a great quiz. Is to do the like what was it when you are done with your
job.
when it's time to move on from your job." I just thought that was like her way, because you know how Jacqueline kind of always has these roundabout ways to kind of get information out of people.
Yes.
I thought that she already knew, and so she was just kind of playing games with them.
I think she read it.
I think
yeah,
so
I think
too.
so.
I think
yeah.
I think she read it. That's what she was
Okay.
saying. All that like
Innuendo
stuff
Yeah.
to her, like, oh
She's
yeah,
like testing her.
do something that would like scare the shit out of you. And yes, you should totally. Yeah, I'm like, okay, Jacqueline's definitely seen the book, and I think
Well-
she wanted to test Jane.
Yeah, and before she left, I thought that when they were talking about the quiz, which was really interesting, is she said, when it's time to move on from your job, she said usually it's when your employer doesn't give you adequate opportunities to grow. And I thought that was really important because I was just trying to think, I mean, so far all of the girls have gotten adequate, I can't say the word today, opportunities to grow. And I was just kind of wondering, I was like, well, maybe Jane hasn't had those steps, and that's why she's like, maybe she needed to have this talk with Jacqueline before she kind of looked for other opportunities.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, because I think Jacqueline would have been like, wow, I didn't realize I was not challenging you enough or
Right.
something. I mean, but at the same
But
time,
I feel like Jacqueline, that's all Jacqueline does. I feel like
Right.
Jacqueline
and she's always
like,
challenging her, and she's
Yeah.
always pushing her to her limits because she knows she can do more.
So you know what I'm thinking? Maybe this is kind of what you're saying already, but I think she gave her the quiz assignment knowing that she wasn't going to want to write a quiz. And, you know, like to kind of
Right.
push her, because I think she sees all of the potential that Jane has, and
Right.
she sees her passion,
Right.
and she knows that doing the quiz is even worse than doing the butt facial article or whatever it is, you know?
No, I totally agree with you because when she even pitched her story, Jacqueline's like, great, and gave it to Alex. And I think you're
Yeah.
right. That's why she probably, because Jacqueline's always quizzing them and testing the girls to
Right.
see like how far they're going to push themselves, if they really want this, if this is something that they're hungry for.
You're right.
And I think she sees herself in Jane, and she sees a young woman who's hungry and really loves this, but I think she feels like Jane doesn't push herself hard enough. And I think she wants her to do that. That's why I think when she's seen her notebook, she's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great quiz. I'm like, okay, she's definitely testing
Right.
Jane right now.
Honestly, having a boss like that would stress me out so much. Like all these roundabout ways to kind of get people to make the right choice. I'd constantly be wondering.
I'm like, just tell me.
Yeah, like, does she mean this or does she mean this? I would stress so much.
Right. But I think maybe too, like when you're in it, you don't realize it's happening to you. But like for us, we're like kind of like, you know,
Yeah.
flies in the wall to
Yeah.
this. But so that we like know the inside scoop. But at the time, you'd be like, well, I don't know that she's doing that. But very interesting. Another juicy thing what's going on in the chat?
So Becca says, hey guys, I'll be back next week. I started
Becca, we
laughing.
miss you.
But Vidra says when Pinstripe got up to get his notepad, she thought he grabbed the book. And everyone in the chat is agreeing, like, oh, we thought he
But
got the
they
book.
were in the conference room. They weren't in her office. I noticed that because I was like, I thought when he said,
The box, okay.
Yeah, because I thought he was going to go up and get it too, but then when I realized they were in the conference room because all the snacks were on the table.
And also, it was not the same notepad.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Hers was a notebook. That was a notepad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Thanks,
close, guys. So
Also,
close.
just to add on to that, how annoying was Sutton when she was like, "That's a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about it.
I'm like, that's the tequila talking.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, you give your friend that look like,
I'm
girl.
gonna kill you."
like stop talking.
Yeah.
No thanks. But man, Sutton and Alex, we knew it. It was gonna happen. They did it. They kissed. They kissed.
Carla's so
Carla is
Yeah,
upset.
Carla was mad because she ignored a call from Richard.
Yes. She ignored
like
Richard.
2 calls.
Yeah, like the 2 calls and the text message, and then she goes with Alex.
Yeah,
Carla
well,
is not here for this.
I mean, we could kind of see that coming the
Yeah.
whole episode.
Yes.
We knew as soon as alcohol was involved, they were going to talk, because something that I was so frustrated about is that ever since he said the words like, if you didn't have anybody, I'd like kiss you right now or whatever, I was like, so are you just going to ignore it? Are you going to act like it didn't happen?
Right.
And now that he knows that she's single, I was like, it's only a matter of time.
I knew, man, we knew that was going to happen.
I knew it was gonna happen,
Knew
but
it
I
was
was
gonna
like,
happen.
knew that I was going to be devastated when it
Yes.
happened, and I also I'm devastated about how it happened, because when she woke up in the morning, she was like surprised at what she had done. It wasn't like oh my gosh, this was great, like, hey, like, I'm moving on. It was more like, oh my goodness, like, what did I do type of thing.
Can I just say the chat it said they're here for Salix.
Salix!
Salix for life. I will say, even though I knew it would happen, but I think, you know, it was alcohol involved.
Yeah.
She was lonely, but because they've both kind of flirted on and off with each other, I think this is something that she wanting to experience. Not saying that she's madly in love with Alex. I think this is just something where she's like, you know, I always wondered what it was like. He told me that he liked me. We've been drinking. You know, drinking tequila and have that cute little romantic moment outside of the cab. I knew she was gonna grab him and put him in the cab. I'm like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna have sex. They're gonna do it. Now she may regret it. We're gonna see next episode.
Right.
She may be scared, or she may get awkward around Alex. He may be awkward. We don't know. But
I just
I
think
like
that
them.
I'm like, oh no, because Alex really likes her.
he does, and she
Yeah.
doesn't.
She doesn't
It's-
like him
I
at all.
feel like to her, it's like, oh, thanks for the sex. It was awesome. And he's gonna be like, oh, okay. Would you like to go on a date?
Well, and it's just, yeah, and it's like she still loves Richard. No doubt about it. She's in love with Richard.
Yes.
And something that I think it was Jane brought up, if it was meant to be with Richard, do you think it'd be this hard?
Right.
What are your guys' thoughts on that statement?
I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was gonna say anything that's good is worth fighting for.
Yeah,
Yes.
and anything that's worth having, it doesn't come easy.
I agree with that, and I also agree with, like, I'm all for like fighting for what you love, but I'm also here for like signs. I'm a sign person where it's like, okay, if that door is closed, why do I keep trying to open it?
Right.
Not saying this is what's happening with them, but I'm both. Like, I agreed with Jane, but then I'm like, but wait, if it's really like meant to be, you're gonna fight for this love. But if it's not, if there's like 5 doors closing in my face,
Right.
maybe that's a sign from God or whoever is up above, I like to say that just in case, I don't know, that maybe this is not the person I'm supposed to be with.
Right.
But I feel like it hasn't been to that point. You know, I
Right.
feel like it was more of like they had this experience together where her friends came over and it wasn't really pleasant because he realized how young they were, and he realizes the risks like at work, and so does she, you know, because she just started at this position, so she knows that if anybody would be out, it would be her. So it's more about just work. I don't think it's been one thing after the other after the other after the other where
But
like
don't you
it's
think-
been like often.
Even though it's work, right? I don't know if Sutton's looking at it like this, but don't you think like if it's meant to be, it's gonna come together? Like he's gonna be like, you know what? I actually really like this girl. I'm in love with this girl. I'm just gonna tell my job.
Yeah.
I'm out.
I agree on
You know, like
Yeah, I agree on that. Like, I think that if it's gonna be something that's too challenging, I feel like there's a reason that you're not supposed to be together. I kind of think I had the thing like if he's not gonna text you back, then it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you can, and that's like I mean, because I always respond to people. So if they're not gonna respond to me, and then you know what I mean, like. I just then that's okay. Then that's not gonna
yeah.
work out.
Like I was waiting
So-
for him to come downstairs in the elevator.
Right.
I'm like, oh, he's gonna just come and be like, girl, why are you not answering my text?
And that's kind of how I feel about Richard. I'm like, he's not making too much of an effort. If he really wanted to be with Sutton, what I need to see Richard do is just come down to her and talk to her face to face.
He needs to do a cat.
Yeah, he does.
I'm just saying. Now that is something where you're like, oh,
Which
wow.
I love that you brought that up because that slide right into that topic, which is Kat and Adena. Man,
Kadena.
this was like a roller coaster of emotions. We're up,
Yeah.
we're down, we're up, we're not. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
You know. So, and first of all, can we talk about that they were in the middle of an airport?
Getting
I
it
know. I was
on.
thinking that too. Like, what?
Where there's like 1,001 cameras looking at you and everything
Yes.
that you're doing.
And not like
stuff.
hiding in a bathroom. They're
Yeah.
like
They're,
out in the lounge.
middle of
Yeah.
the lounge.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I just thought that was funny. I mean, obviously, I know it's TV, so like anything's
Right.
possible. But I'm like, but
I'm
you're
like,
in the
who's
middle of
doing
an
it in
airport.
international lounge
Right.
and
I wish
JFK?
I wish they didn't do it like that. Like to me, I was only thinking the whole time, like, okay, that's really weird. That's really awkward.
Like,
Like
someone-
someone can see. Like they have rooms that you can like rent.
Yeah.
In
Right.
airports, like
Yep.
if you're staying overnight, if you have like a layover, like
And then like
Yeah.
because like they're two women, I just felt like it's more intimate with women. So I'm like, God damn it, they're like an open lounge. Like I feel like a guy and a girl, you can just
Right.
quickly be like, oh, whatever.
And I'm wondering, I was wondering, like, did we? Because I know obviously she spent $11,000 on this
Ridiculous.
ticket to get just through security. Like, guys,
crazy.
she didn't go. Like, she wasn't even intending on flying. She just was intending to buy this ticket to get through security, which I can't even imagine. Like,
This is what Richard needs to be doing.
right?
Just saying.
I'm just wondering if because like you know how she was like obviously first class or whatever, was that like. I don't know. Was that like a one-person lounge that she walked into that was some sort of penthouse? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to rationalize the fact that they were in the middle of.
I think it's
a
like an
lounge.
exclusive, fancy, like rich person lounge.
Like maybe they knew.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's
For
when
rich
you
people.
when you fly first class on an airline, there's like different lounges that they have that you can go hang out
Yeah,
at.
but
and
like,
they
was
have
it their own
food.
personal one? Like,
No,
or maybe they
No.
waited until like it was like 3 a.m. when
Yeah,
it like
they-
died down.
Like they closed it down.
still.
They're not open all night long, but they
Right.
do have food for you, and they have like champagne and
Right.
like, all these different things. But they're not open all day. I think that's why they built the fort and like all
Right.
of that, because then they were by themselves.
I know. I was just like trying to figure out like the reality. I was like, I was trying to make it so like maybe they're in a room somewhere that we don't know about. Like I don't know, but I mean, but let's not say and let's back up Becca here because she can't speak for herself. But I know she's excited that
She's
Kadena
super excited.
is back together, and there's just so much passion between them, and I hate that here we are again and they're not together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like I love it, but then I hate it at the same
Right.
time.
It brings us
Yeah.
through so many emotions because they're so good
hate
together, but then they can never be.
That's what sucks. It's like Kat is so romantic, and I love it. Like I'm upset that she spent that much money to get through.
We were all
I'm
like,
what the hell?
Yeah.
Must be nice to be rich.
Right.
Tiffany Mendez said they went out with a bang, literally.
Oh yes, they did.
So Renji said maybe the $11,000 would be the reason season 2 would show Kat's parents because they're both
Oh,
therapists.
right.
So
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else? Everyone's really excited about Kadena.
My new boyfriend says, I don't find the chemistry between Adena and Kat to be believable.
Ooh,
Really?
why is that official Seaside calling you out?
Yeah, I find it
Side.
very believable.
And Peyton Fifth Girl said Adena and Kat had some major chemistry, and I love the
Yeah.
fact that they banged in the airport. Me too, girl.
Oh my god.
That's like beautiful, like sending you home with a
Yeah.
bang, and it's awesome. I'm just upset that she spent all that money.
I know. We were all like, oh
Poor.
gosh. No, I think that they have something special, and I'm just kind of curious as to where it can go from now because,
Yeah.
like, the whole 9 episodes, they have literally. They were together and they were separate, and then they were together and then they're separate, and now they're together and now they're leaving again, and it's just kind of like, what more can we do? If this needs to work, like, we can't be
Right.
separated anymore. Like, we need them to be together as a couple.
I think that this show is kind of one of those that kind of puts you in real life situations often, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if we do see somewhat of like a long distance relationship and what it's like to be in a long distance relationship and like the struggles that you go through in a long distance relationship, because you don't really see that on TV. Most of the time, every relationship is just, oh, we're
Yes.
here, we
And
see
that's
each
it.
other.
They meet each
and,
other
like,
in 3 days. They're
yes.
in love. It goes
They
quick,
live with
it
each
goes
other.
fast. Yeah.
That's
and then they get
true.
married and
I love
stuff.
that.
And you
For
never
sure.
really see like the struggle of like somebody who's doing a long distance, and when you don't know when's the next time you're gonna see each other, but you believe in each other and like your love is strong enough to get you through that like sort of way. And I'm speaking because like I am in a long distance relationship, so that's why like
beautiful.
I think it's really nice to be able to see that, like, and to just kind of show people that if you really want something, you can have it. Like nothing is impossible.
That's
I
I agree with
love
that.
that.
Yeah.
And that's
Karla,
what
that's
what it
beautiful.
means. Like when it's meant to be. Like if you want
Yeah.
something, you're gonna fight for it.
Right.
Yeah,
And I love
exactly.
that.
So I think it'd be really nice to maybe
Yeah.
see that like with
I
them
love
and
that,
just
Karla.
see how things work
I
out.
love that. I just want to say, I think also this relationship might actually test and push Kat because she always says, I've never had an adventure. I never
Right,
did anything
yeah.
crazy.
Right.
So this actually may push her and be like, are you going to go visit Adena? Are you going to actually get on that plane
Yeah.
with that passport and do something crazy that you've never done before?
Right.
So I think that may also be, but you're absolutely right. If you want
Especially
something,
'cause
you're
she-
going to fight for it.
Yeah, and I mean, she has the money to go.
Obviously.
And,
She can take a break from work.
she's paid enough time at work where she would probably have a like vacation time, even if it was just for a week.
Tiffany Mendez says, I'm so sorry. She says, listen, as a lesbian woman of color myself, I'm happy to see the kind of representation on television.
I think we all are.
Yeah, I think we
it's
all love
awesome.
it.
It's beautiful. Ain't nobody got time for a long distance relationship. That's Divinity Rocks.
Oh man, Divinity rocks.
Divinity Rocks, your new
Let's
boyfriend.
believe in love.
We're here for love.
We're here for love. We're in it for love. We're in it for all the relationships.
Can I
What-
just? Oh,
yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
go.
I just want to draw a parallel really quickly.
Yeah.
We thought Jane in the beginning was the non-risk taker, the one who plays by the rules and stays like charging at different scary opportunities with like fearlessness. But now we're seeing Kat is too afraid to get on, like abandon her life and abandon the normalcy that she's grown used to, be used to, and she won't.
Started, but if anybody ever watched Cinderella's story, it was never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game, and it's very true.
You guys are so
Yeah.
cute. I
Because
love it.
if if you're, and sometimes I literally, that quote has stuck with me, and I just feel like this episode was kind of all about, not letting your fears get the better of you. And I
Yeah.
think we all do
Yeah.
that, and it sucks that that's a part of, or stinks because that's a part of our brain and how we work, is that we're so scared to do anything super out of the normal and kind of off path.
Fear
Yeah.
will cripple you, whether it's like work or something that you've been dreaming about doing your whole life,
Right.
relationships. And that's something that I feel like sometimes we have to get out of our heads. And this is a talk that I have with myself every day and with my friends. And I'll see all these great motivational quotes on like Instagram about
Right.
fear. So I really love this episode because it is about getting out of your head and doing something that scares the shit out of you, quote unquote, from Jacqueline. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is one thing that we do love about the Bold Type, because we can all see ourselves in one of the characters, something that's going on the show, because it's so real. Shout out to the Bold Type writers.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And
You're one of them.
I am one of the
Yeah.
Bold Type writers, so just letting you guys know that.
we seriously, we continuously praise this show because it's so important and it gives great messages to young women and adults. I read a quote today, I think on Twitter, about somebody saying how it's the perfect combination of kind of teens to adulthood, and it really just kind of opens up this vertical for us to all talk about things that we're all feeling, and we're all too scared to just I feel like we all just need to chat about how we're feeling about work and be there for one another. We all need us. We're all supportive of each other, and just talk to your friends about any struggles you're going through. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody just needs to chat, and just this show kind of opens up that window, I think, for it. But before we wrap up this episode, why don't we get some predictions for the season finale?
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Ooh, all right, Kia, it's all you, girl.
Since this theme was the universe, we talked about this. Karla tweeted something great about the universe. One, we're going to put into the universe, I just said to the chat, for season 2, throwing it out. I feel like a psychic, throwing it out. And since I am a writer, and I feel like I've been right about my predictions this whole season. So let's see what's happening. Next week is the season finale, and I think that even though Jane took the job with insight, I feel like the season finale, bless up, I hope that they do come back with the season 2. I don't think next week's episode we're gonna know if she's going or not.
Right.
Like I think next week we're gonna be torn between, I feel like Jacqueline's gonna give her something great. She's gonna be torn between staying, her friends are still there. And I think we're going to see that. And then when season 2 comes back, then we'll know if she's at Inside or not. I think her and Pinstripe are going to try to work it out because, like he told her, Jane, don't overthink it. I like you. Well, he didn't say that, but that's what he's saying. I like you. I feel like Sutton and Alex had sex. Well, they did have sex. I feel like, I don't think Sutton regrets it, but I think that she likes him as a friend, and it's a sex thing. And I think that he has feelings for her more than she has feelings for him. And I think because she still loves Richard, that's going to be a thing. And I would love to see Richard push himself and actually fight for his girl. If you love this girl so much, come downstairs and fight for your girl. So that's something that I would love to see in the season finale. And Kat and Adena, I mean, I love it, but I hate it at the same time. And I feel bad for saying that because I love that they're a great couple, but it sucks because Adena went home. So I also believe season finale, we're going to see her struggling. Do I go? Do I not go? What's up? That's it. Sorry, guys.
Devyn, it's your turn.
I have way less predictions. I do see Jane and Pinstripe getting together. I honestly can't say whether or not Jane will, go with the job with Insight, like continue to go with the job. I don't have any predictions with that. Kat and Adena, very hard for me to read. I don't know about that either. I wish I had something better, but I don't think it's gonna work out, I guess. I don't really see that lasting. And then I think Sutton and Richard are going to rekindle their romance.
Ooh.
I agree that I think Sutton viewed Alex as a friend.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's going to be anything else.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
Karla,
love your predictions.
loving this.
She's here for anything
Team
to do
Sutter.
with Richard.
Team
I'm here
Sutter.
for Team Sutter.
Yes.
All the way. Which actually I am, and this kind of goes away a little bit from predictions, but I do agree with you guys. I really liked the relationship that Richard and Sutton had because I liked the way that Richard was treating Sutton, and just because I feel like it was a really great way for him to be treating his girlfriend. But now I'm kind of a little bit disappointed. I do have to agree on that. I don't like the fact that he's not chasing her because he should be. But going back to predictions, I think that Kat and Adena are obviously going to have a struggle. But I think they're probably going to try the long distance and they're going to see. I think Jane and Pinstripe are definitely going to go back together, and I don't think she's going to take the job for Insight. I think the season finale, something's going to happen because I think there's a party, and in the end, she's going to realize that, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? Because I think in this, the way it's going to end is I think, I'm forgetting her name.
Sutton?
No.
Kat?
No.
Jacqueline?
Jacqueline.
There you go.
I think that Jacqueline's going to give another speech that's going to speak to her heart.
I love
just
that.
the way
Making
that
it
it
full circle.
did. When she first started as a writer. So I think it'll be a reminder for her as to why she's working at Scarlet and why she started working at Scarlet. And I think that's about it. Oh, I'm hoping to see Sutton and Richard go back together, and just kind of Sutton tell Alex and put him back into like, hey, you know what, like
Friend
this is what
zone
happened. Yeah.
him. Poor
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, definitely go around that. Sutton's
Yeah.
definitely gonna friend zone Alex.
Yep.
That's not happening ever again. I feel like that's
Yeah.
gonna be cut very dry. I think Richard and Sutton are gonna.
What if they hook up? What if Richard and Alex hook up?
Oh man, that'd be a storyline. So I think Richard and Sutton are definitely gonna get back together, but it'll be on the cusp of getting back together before they break for the season finale. I have a feeling that Jane is going to somehow still go to the job, but maybe there's like a flash forward, and then she ends up back at Scarlet, and then Pinstripe has the job at Insight. Or something like that. They're
okay.
they're definitely together. And then Kat and Adena, I kind of, whatever you were, like what Karla was saying about the whole long distance thing, I think Kat and Adena are going to make it through. And I think she's going to maybe try to, it'll be a fast forward, hopefully season 2, where she had done a couple months remote with Adena and where Adena lives. So
it.
those are kind of mine. Not too many, but do we have any in the chat before we wrap
Yes,
up?
we have
Let's
a lot
hear
in the
'em.
chat about Richard and Sutton. So we have Tiffany said, I feel like Alex and Sutton could possibly happen again in the future, but I don't know. Official Seaside says, your boo, Devyn. Sutton wears her heart on her sleeve and she will open up to Richard and tell him she wants him back.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had some really good ones. Tiffany said, Nakia, wouldn't you know because you're a writer? I can't tell you guys everything. I predict, Peyton, Fifth Girl says, I predict that Kat will get on the plane and visit Adena. Sutton and Alex might try to date and Jane might have a tough choice to make. And I will do one more to close this out. No, that's not from Divinity Rocks. Kat will realize she's in love with Adena and she will get on the plane. Sutton will be the only one left at Scarlet.
Oh, that is a great.
That's a really good
That is
ending
a great.
note.
Yeah, that's a great
awesome.
way to wrap up our predictions for episode 9. Very, very, very excited for the season finale next week. Thank you guys so much, as ever, for joining us in the chat. And make sure you tweet us. We want to hear your predictions throughout the rest of the week, leading us up to the season finale. And Kia, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me on all social media at Kiki Boom Boom. Thank you guys again for joining us in the chat. You guys are awesome.
And you guys can find me, I'm speaking directly to you, Pinstripe, on social media at Dining with Devyn, and that's Devyn with a Y.
And hey guys, I'm Karla Beltran, and you can follow me on my Instagram at Karla with a K, BEE Travels, and on my Twitter at Karla Beltran with an R at the end.
Hey guys, it's Ali Nasta. You can find me on Twitter at Ali Nasta and on Instagram at Ali Girl. And of course, follow AfterBuzz TV on all social media platforms. And be sure to download us on iTunes for the podcast. Again, thank you guys so much, Bold Typewriters. You are amazing. We cannot wait to discuss the season finale. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.